Tara.
And I'm Misty.
And welcome to the Handmade Podcast. This is episode 6, and it is Spinzilla. Today is Monday, October 6th, and it's the first day of Spinzilla, so we will be talking end spinning as we talk about how we learn to spin, the wheels that we use, and our finished projects and works in progress, and some stashing.
Yes.
So how did you learn to spin?
I don't remember at first what really attracted me to spinning, but I had decided I really wanted to do it, and I wanted a wheel. And so my father-in-law does woodworking, and I was really hoping he would make me a wheel, and he was going to, and I was so excited, and I got in the plans and everything, and he was out picking up wood one day and happened upon a wheel and got it for me.
Wow.
Which was nice, but I have to admit I was disappointed. It was not the nice handmade one that I had hoped for. And so this was a more vintage wheel. I didn't know anything about it. He set me up with some lady that he knows.
Was it like the big turning kind, like the Cinderella kind?
It was more like that, but not huge like that. So, I tried my best to get it to work. This lady helped me a little, but I wasn't able to do it on my own at home. Mm-hmm. And so I took a class at Yarntiques in Johnson City, and the lady who I was hoping she could help me get it to working, but she didn't know anything about that type of wheel, so she wasn't able to help me either. And so it was one of those things where I either had to get a new wheel or I had to give this up. So I went ahead and put the wheel up for sale and was able to sell it. That is a monster story in and of itself.
I've heard the story. It's crazy.
It was crazy, but I did sell it. And so I took that money and I bought a Blue Bonnet Crafty Bee. And the reason I picked this wheel is it was on the pretty inexpensive for a wheel. And I wanted to be able to spin art yarns. That was what really attracted me to spinning, because my thought was I want to be able to spin stuff that I can't buy. And you can't, you can buy art yarns, but you're going to pay for them.
Well, and a couple years ago, they weren't like anywhere.
Yeah,
they
really weren't anywhere. They were hard to find, and they were expensive, and I just didn't have the kind of budget to buy hand-dyed or hand-spun yarn. And so I'm all about, well, if I can't do it, I'll just make it myself. Now, it doesn't matter that I would have spent more on the materials to make it than I could have just went and bought some. That's not the point. You can spend on the tools, but you can't spend on the whatever. I have a very skewed, reasoning and all that. Yeah, it made sense in my head, and so that's my reasoning. If I can't, if it's expensive to buy, I'll just make it. Well, it's not always less expensive to make it, but so that was my 2 cents. So yeah, I got a wheel, and I hadn't really delved into it like I wished I had. I just didn't have a lot of budget to spend on fiber, and I was kind of still a little timid about it. And I'm really glad for Tara and Spinzilla this year, because it's really going to push me to get back into it. I'm really bad to want to plan, what am I going to knit with this before I spin? And I think I need to not do that, especially here at first, where I'm, still just kind of playing around. I just need to spin and be more confident that I'll find something to make out of it. And I've been knitting about 5 years or so, and the longer I knit, the more I see that there's a pattern for every kind of yarn, and
Absolutely.
You can find something to make out of it. So just spin it, and no matter how crappy you think it's gonna look, it'll be pretty. It's yarn, and so you'll find something to make with it. And what I'm doing now is just, it wanted to be thick and thin, so it's thick and thin.
Can you hold it up so they can see how pretty the fiber is?
The fiber is gorgeous. I got this from I did the spinning guild, went to a spinning guild, and she was had some to sell. This is Ashford Merino silk, 80% New Zealand merino and 20% silk, and so it feels amazing.
And here, show them the package. So it's like directly from Ashford.
Here's the package,
which is the company that made my wheel.
Oh. And here is the colors. It's got like this, just a hint of green, some blue, some white silvery in there, and it's just really pretty colors.
It's gorgeous.
And so yeah, I'm just trying not to fret over it not looking, oh, it's whatever, and just kind of in it. So, as far as books go, this was the book right here that really kind of sealed the deal for me. Let's look at the back.
It's adorable.
the projects in here were absolutely precious, and it's like once I saw what I could really make with hand spun yarn, I'm like, I really want to do this. And so this book really inspired me. Some of the baby items in here are just
they're really cute.
Precious. They're precious. And so
see, and that's definitely proof you can do anything with hand spun yarn. Like there's blankets and
blanket in this. I've not made this yet, but I totally want to. Look at that blanket, how adorable. It's just amazing. And so, you know, it's just really, it's really neat and inspiring. And the yarns that they have in here, and the more that I do this, the more that I'm like, I see I can do, you know, I can really make this. It's possible.
Oh yeah, the yarn you're making is so similar to that thick and thin that pattern calls for.
And so that was a really big inspiration for me. And since I've started spinning, I do have the Spinner's Book of Yarn Design. This is an amazing book.
I've never seen it.
You'll have to check it out. You're welcome to borrow it. One of my favorite things that she has in here is talking about spinning yarn for socks. And I think that is so totally brave, because not only have you taken all that time to spin yarn, but then you've taken all that time to knit socks. And I would be so totally nervous that they would fall apart the first time I wore them. But she talks about, I mean, she's really experimented, and she talks about, well, if you this way and this way, I mean, she shows you her experiments throughout the book, that if you ply this way or ply that way, and how it worn. Yeah, it's a great sock yarn experiment. And if you don't buy the book for anything else but that, it's an amazing thing in there. And so
this has tons of technical details.
Tons of technical details. A lot of information about plying. It even goes into some great art yarns and stuff. It's not just a you know, spin
traditional.
You know, traditional.
Wow.
So that was a really great book. So that I highly recommend that for any spinner, beginner or otherwise. So,
well, you totally missed the story about you learning to spin that brought us together.
Yes. Oh, yes. I went, when I first started getting into this, I went online for videos. And of course, you know, since I was interested in art yarn, I didn't want just any videos, and I happened across Tara's videos. And I watched several of hers, and I watched also Esther Rogers, who is Jazz Turtle Creations. She's pretty cool too. She does some neat things.
She makes really cool yarn.
Yeah, but anyway, Tara, that's how when I saw Tara out, I went up to her and I was like, don't you have spinning videos? And she was like, yeah, but that was like years ago. And I was like, I've totally watched your videos.
The videos that she's watched are like 5 years old, and we were at a thing that both of our husbands were friends and knew each other, and so I thought that's why she was coming up and saying hello. And then she was just, I was like, how does she even know about the spinning video? She walked away, and I thought, well, that's Matt's wife. And did she talk about the spinning videos? Like, it didn't really stick in my head that is like she recognized me from YouTube and came up and said hello. That still blows my mind. That is like the craziest thing ever. Because the videos are so old, and this was just like a year ago.
Yeah.
You said hello. And
yeah, the first of this year, really, I think.
Right. And since then, I've put a lot of videos up on my channel for small business, so I kind of thought you were talking about that, but then it was just, so I have a video on YouTube if you'd like to see it of, since you can't really see my wheel, the only way we could get you to see my wheel is if we like angled the camera at an unflattering angle. So, on YouTube, on my channel, we'll include a link to it in the show notes. There's how to get the yarn started on your bobbin, because I also used YouTube when I was learning how to spin, and I could not find like those really like, how do you get the yarn on the bobbin? And how do you make it take up if it's not taking up? And then some of my other videos are like how to dye with Easter egg dyes, but I did a whole series on the wheel because I couldn't figure it out when I was trying to. And my learning to spin story actually started at the place where we bought the wheel. I'd been talking about wanting to spin, and I was already dyeing a lot of yarn. And so we were at, so I used to just look up yarn stores, especially when I was first starting to learn to knit, and just go to all the yarn stores that I could find.
Oh,
and
yeah.
I had this was when I lived in Ohio, and this was in like a town we never went to. I think it was like in the middle of the country in Beaver Creek, and it was this woman's random house that was also a yarn store, except for it wasn't really a yarn store. All they had was spinning fiber, and we went once, or I went once, and then I told my mom, and I was like, but it was only spinning fiber, and she's like, well, you wanted to learn to spin, let's go back. And I was like, yeah, but you know, a wheel is expensive. So while we're there, it's like the week before my birthday, and it's all spinning fiber, and we're talking to the owner. I think her name was Barbara, and my mom is like, so I've decided for your birthday I'm getting you a spinning wheel. I was like, awesome! Yay! So she bought me the Ashford Kiwi, like, that day right there. The woman said, well, I can give you spinning lessons, and I was like, yeah, but this is like an hour away that we drove. And she's like, okay, well, let's put the wheel together right now. We put it together right there in her shop.
Awesome. Don't you love people like that?
Yes, I do. And she'd been doing it for like 20 years by that point. So then she walked me through, she tied on the leader yarn, she walked me through how to pedal, how to do my hands, and she gave me the best spinning advice I've ever heard that I give everybody, which is don't sit down and try to do it for hours at a time. Do it in little bits, but every single day, because it's muscle memory. And the more often you do it, the more comfortable your hands will get, and that's the only way to learn. So if you are struggling to spin, and Misty's heard me say it already, like sit down and spin just a little bit each day instead of trying to sit down and like spin a whole bunch at once, because you'll get frustrated and you'll learn more each time. And you know, I just spun really, really small balls of yarn when I first learned, and you know, part of it is getting good fiber, and you talked about before how you had all the problems with the Etsy place.
Oh yeah, I had a lot of felted, and you know, on Etsy, and I'm nervous. I'm starting to dye fiber, and I'm really nervous that mine's going to be felted, and I've been trying to really baby it, but I'll tell you about my dyeing adventures in a minute.
But so that's, I mean, I learned from her in a couple minutes there, and then I got a book, and it was called Amos Adams, I think is his name's Big Book of Hand Spinning, and at the time it was the only book in my library about spinning. Oh, this is like in 2006, and when I got the wheel, and I was starting to look for information, and I think YouTube had kind of just started, or I was Googling, I know that, or searching, whatever, and I couldn't find a lot of information, but there were a couple sites with like pictures and videos, and I don't even, Craftster, the forums at Craftster had little people posting like tiny videos of them spinning, and that's how I learned some of the things. And then that's why I decided to make, I mean, there's only maybe like 3 or 4 spinning videos, but it was such a frustrating process to not have anybody to show me. And soon after that we moved to Tennessee, and so I knew even fewer people that could show me, so I never could go back to that lady's shop and like get her to show me. But then it's just trial and error, and I would go like 6 months between picking up the wheel, and then do it for like several months really excitedly, and I don't know, I still say like I can only do what I know how to do. Like I don't make sock yarn, I don't make traditional real fine yarn.
Now, see,
I make like thick and thin.
Yeah, but she's got this great,
like this.
It doesn't look overspun, and it looks like it's just a cloud of fluff. I don't know how to get mine to do that. I'll have to watch.
I think a lot of it is in the drafting. So if you can see here, before we got started, I pulled apart my roving. So this is my dyed roving, which, so I'm spinning like a rainbow yarn, which is pink, orange, yellow, green, and blue.
Ooh, pastel rainbow.
Yes.
I love it.
And it's self-striping. So I'm going to do all of the pink, and then all of the orange, and all of the yellow. And I meant to bring my hat. I have a hat knit in this. I'll have to link to it. That like changes, you know, through the hat. It's much easier than dyeing self-striping to spin it like this. So I take my big thing of roving, and I break it into small, tiny bits like this. I just pull off the length, and then this is a little, it's not as fluffy as I like it, because I don't do a lot of drafting while I spin, so I slowly pull on it down the way until it's real light and airy. And you got to keep your hands farther apart than the staple length. Like if your hands are too close, it won't go anywhere.
Yeah.
But so that is just like a feeling it. And silk has a really long staple length, so your hands are like, it needs your hands to be in a different place. And figuring that out, which...
that was a big thing.
And I think you just got to not overthink it and feel it with your hands. And if you aren't getting any drafting, then you just move your hands apart. And if your hands are too far apart, you're going to pull it apart.
Yeah.
That's no big deal. You just lay it back over. So, yeah, that's kind of my spinning story, but, and we'll include links to the videos, but what about, you talked a little bit about your wheel. What is it again?
This is a Blue Bonnet Crafty Bee.
It's so
and
cute.
it
I wish you
has
could see it.
like a, yeah, it's kind of carved on it. They have little bees carved on it. It's very cute. And it has a, just a metal hook, kind of, not hook, but like it looks like just a triangle like this for an orifice, and that way, and it has very large hooks on it. That way, I don't know if you can see right there, the little hook, but that way, it'll spin very large.
As big of a yarn as you want.
Yeah.
And you could put any kind of inclusions in it. Like we talked about spinning, or seashells that
Yeah.
have holes in them already, like stringing them on some string and then spinning it in. I've always wanted to do that, but my wheel does not mind. I have the jumbo flyer. So I have a Ashford Kiwi, and it looks like this. And I have the jumbo flyer on it, which means that I can make bigger yarn. It has a bigger orifice. It's like the circumference of my finger, and which means that I can make a really bulky yarn. I can make bulky 2-plies, but I can't spin in any kind of big inclusions. So I've done jingle bells, which I wish I would have brought because I wanted to show you.
Cool.
It's like red and green yarn with jingle bells spun in on the, like a hemp thread that I plied it with, but that's kind of as big as it goes. And I made the mistake of buying jingle bells that were too big the first year I did it. They wouldn't go through. It was sad. So I need that. I need that kind of orifice.
Borrow mine.
Yeah. Oh, good point.
Yeah.
But I had another wheel I bought right after I quit my day job to make yarn full time. I thought, well, I need a travel wheel, and I can't even remember what it was now, but it was a little bit shorter and smaller, and it had a single treadle, and it was so different. I mean, spinning on different wheels is really different, and if you are looking for a wheel, try them out and figure out which one you like best, which one you feel comfortable with, because that was only a little shorter, and it hurt my back every time I spun with it. And right now I'm sitting up a little higher than I normally do at my wheel. But it's important that your legs feel comfortable and like they're at a good angle, which is why it's really hard to spin if you're like smooshed down on the couch and your knees are up high, because all of that will make you go faster or slower. It'll make your tension different, and it will just stress out your body and make it not fun anymore. And that was a big thing for me, is finding the seat that I could sit in to spin that would not make me feel awful when I was done spinning. I think that's huge. So yeah, mine's the Ashford Kiwi, and we'll include links to where you can find our wheels as well. It's the Ashford Kiwi with the jumbo flyer. And now you want to talk about the fiber you've dyed?
Sure.
I'd love to see it.
I dyed, this is Shetland.
It's so pretty.
From Tara's mom.
Yay.
And I did a gradient.
Can I touch it?
Yes. And I would love for you to, I wanted to show it all pretty, but you're welcome to take it apart after this, because I think I'm going to have to spin this one myself, because when I dyed it, I think I forgot to put, I'm still using vinegar. I think I forgot to put vinegar in it at first. And so it didn't take the color like I had wanted it to. So I had to put it back in the water and do it again. And I was super worried that I handled it more than I wanted to. And like I said, I had issues with felting in the past. Yeah. I'd had issues with felting in the past. And
is that the end I'm supposed to pull on?
I don't remember.
Okay.
And
I don't think so, because it's making me unbraid it.
No.
No, this is, it's a little sticky, but this fiber, Shetland, is like that. It's a little compressed.
Yeah. So I didn't want to end up, with something and somebody come back and say, yeah, no.
Yeah.
So I think I'm going to just spin this one myself.
Or you could sell it to me. It's a little compressed is all it is.
Well, someone might mistake that for.
I agree. I agree. I think that maybe
I'm having to take it out that way too. I shouldn't.
Isn't there an easier way?
There should be. I should
be.
Okay,
look,
is it unzipping now?
Yeah,
okay.
I was messing with it. We're gonna have this all over your house.
Right.
So you see, I think your hands maybe need to be a little further apart.
No, I think it might be a little felted.
Yeah, maybe. So I would happily spin with this. It's gorgeous. My mom's, she bought Shetland roving from my mom's farm, which you can find at bluebirdlegacy.etsy.com or bluebirdlegacy.net. And she has only a little bit of roving left. I think she only has 4 ounces of white roving, and that's what this was. And this is from my sheep. It's so amazing to see it all done up. And actually, I spun a yarn from this roving this week in the natural color. You can see it's bulky and thick and thin.
Ooh, that's pretty.
And it has, so the roving has tiny bits of,
oh, that feels really good too.
doesn't it?
It does.
It has tiny little bits of hay in it, which I am kind of insane about. But you know, when you buy farm wool, it's like that. There's a word for that. It's like VM, vegetable matter. That's the technical term for it. But it's actually still kind of damp because I soaked it. So you're talking about overspun. One of the ways to test if your yarn is going to make your project tilt one way or the other is after you have it in a hank like this, to see if it hangs straight or if it twists. If your yarn is overspun, it'll twist strongly like this. But after it's washed and hung, some people weight their yarn to straighten it. I don't like to do that though because I feel like it takes away from the elasticity and the bounce that's natural. So I just hang mine just like this. And you can see it's only turning like a quarter of a turn. And that might even be because I wound it in a hank to bring it here. So that's that yarn, that's that fiber spun into a yarn. I'm going to have this for sale at,
ooh, awesome.
what's it called?
The Naughty Ladies
Fiber Retreat.
Fiber Retreat.
We're doing it this weekend. It's this Friday, Saturday, and Sunday.
I am so excited, but I'm also so nervous.
I'm sure
so
it'll be
crazy.
fine. It'll
I've
be
tried
totally
to
fine.
get everything done and remember everything, and it's just been a
And
challenge.
this is Misty's first time to sell her yarn in person, and I'm so excited. And that's why I think that that roving, if you sold it in person, is going to be no big deal because they'll get a chance to feel it and feel if they want to buy it. Where you get into the this is too felted to sell issue is if you're selling and the person can't feel it. You know?
Yeah.
I think if they can feel it, though, they can kind of feel it out. So did you dye some more of that roving?
No, that's so far. That's all I dyed. I did dye that other I've got it all separated into 4-ounce amounts, and I did the pink and green.
Ooh.
I think I showed that though.
Yeah,
but yeah, I'm gonna do some more of that.
So the fiber I dyed this week, or maybe the week before, is this, which was in a beautiful braid circly thing like hers, but it got messed up in my bag. But do you see it's yellows and oranges and pinks? And actually how this works is it goes from pink to orange to pink again. So if you keep it in this order and you spin it in this order, it'll go from pink to then where the pink and yellow overlapped, made a nice orange, and then yellow, and then I made an actual peachy orange. Maybe yellow is the main color. And it goes to yellow and then it goes peach. I actually think I'm going to spin it myself because I just love it so much. And because Spinzilla, we didn't even talk about. Like, we just said it's Spinzilla.
It's Spinzilla.
So Spinzilla is kind of an online and in-person event organized by the National Needle Arts Association, TNNA. They're the trade association for the yarn and needlework world. Like, they do the trade shows that your yarn store goes to in order to buy yarn. Also, do not forget embroidery and needlework shops. I made the mistake when I was teaching at TNNA of only talking about yarn shops, and several people wrote that they were offended because they were needlework shops, and I kind of forgot they were at TNNA too. Oh. But so they've also recently gotten into spinning in the last year or two, and so this event, it's 1 week long, and you're supposed to spin as much yarn as you can in 1 week, and there are contests, and I think there's a prize, like a national prize for the most yarn spun, and you join teams. And so we joined the Naughty Lady team, since we'll be at the retreat this weekend. And, oh, are you spinning with it now?
I'm going to try to.
I would maybe, draft it, like, before you start. Just so that you're not having to focus on it while you're spinning. But so we are spinning as much as we can. It starts today, October 6th, and that's why we're spinning while we talk. And I think we'll both be spinning all week, right?
Yes.
Yes.
At least a few minutes.
Yeah, that's my goal too. So I have my fiber that I dyed, that I was thinking about selling the fiber, and then I thought, I just might have to spin it. I might get to the end of my fiber. And this rainbow yarn, I have 8 ounces in each of these colors that I held up earlier. So I'm going to do several skeins in this rainbow. You can't see the pink because I've been spinning with it. There it is. I did 8 ounces of each. So I could do 8 skeins because I use 1 ounce of each color in a row to get a big skein that is a rainbow.
That will be awesome.
Yeah, so that's it for me and fiber. How about you?
I only dyed that. As far as what fiber I have to spin, I have this lovely stuff that I got from
Oh, yeah. We talked about that in our
We
first
talked about
episode.
that. Yeah, I have this to spin. It feels really nice. And I have stuff that I bought like forever ago. And I have spun some of it. I'll show you what I've done with it. It feels amazing.
Ooh, ooh.
This is either, I want to say it's alpaca.
Let me feel it. I'm so excited. Can they see this gorgeous brown color?
It's this natural caramel color that is just amazing.
You have like a sweater's worth there.
I know. It is like so stinking soft. And here's what, it's been a while since I've spun.
That's beautiful. Oh my goodness, you have to show the people.
Let me like see if I can loosen it a little bit. So I'll have to ply this good. Wrap it around a couple times.
I don't know if you can hear the dog yawn, but
Yeah.
apparently we're not interested in dogs.
So this
Yeah.
is what I've spun so far.
It's so pretty. The light is making it a weird color. It's
Yeah,
a really pretty.
It's a really pretty, just tan caramel brown. It's just, and I'm not a big brown fan, but yeah, this is pretty.
That's some really fine yarn.
Yeah.
That's going to be beautiful.
And so I kind of just started spinning it, wanted to do that, and I was happy with that. And so I'll have to ply this because it is pretty fine. It looks like this is maybe a fingering to sport, I would guess, just by looking. What I did with this other, I didn't get it off my bobbin for Spinzilla, but I tied a hot pink string around it to where I started today. So that way I didn't have to like separate it. I don't, for some reason, I don't like to have, I like to have as continuous amount as possible.
Yes.
And so I didn't have time to like spin the rest of that. And I didn't want to like.
Right.
So
you want to count all the
yeah,
yardage for Spinzilla.
Yeah. But I didn't want to cheat. So I tied me a pink string around it. And I'll probably do the same with that and just continue on that bobbin. When I get ready to spin that. But it's so pretty and I did so good and fine on it. I wanted to practice some more to get back into it and I hope I've not hurt the yarn by letting it sit there because it sit there probably since last year.
Well, it does remove some of the energy of the twist, but if you're plying it again, I mean,
it'll be all right. It's okay. So, yeah, that's what I have for spinning fiber. I'm sure that will keep me busy.
So what have you finished stuff, right? I have no finished things this week.
I have not finished anything but dyeing. I do have a couple of dyeing projects, maybe one that I have over here. I did a self-striping and it's amazing. It is a teal, a black, and a hot pink, and it's sock yarn, and it's self-striping, and I love it.
That is our podcast colors.
Yeah.
That's the colors of our website. Handmadepodcast.com.
Yeah.
So is it for sale?
It is for sale.
I want it. You guys don't get anything because I go crazy for it. That is so, I obviously need to own that. Okay.
And I also finished a bag. I don't know if this one can be sold. I kind of love it. I love the dots. And I got this awesome batik.
Ooh, yeah.
Fabric.
And I think you showed the polka dot fabric.
I might have showed it already because I just loved it that much. But
right.
Here's the finished bag. It's kind of got
awesome.
the polka dot thing. And so, yeah. And it's kind of soft. And so I'm changing my interfacing this time and trying something a little different. Because there's nothing wrong with soft. I mean, once you get stuff in it, I don't think it'll be too floppy because the zipper opens.
The one you made.
Yeah, the zipper opens up, and I think it's just the delicate fabrics that do it. And with the stuff I'm using now, with some fabrics, it's fine, but with others, it just is not enough.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm trying something different this time.
I like it. Do you have bags available in your shop? Because I know people ask us.
I don't yet. I cannot get them made fast enough, and so I'm working on some to take with me to this weekend. Excellent. And I'm gonna get just as many as I can made, and then what I'm planning on doing is setting up just little baggies with the cut fabric in them and selling pre-orders. Oh. And then that way I can either offer to mail them to people if they're out of town, or they can pick them up once they're finished at the shop in Jonesboro. Nice. So I thought that would be a good, kind of in-between way where to calm me down for not getting enough done and then still be able to offer, some of the great fabrics I have.
Yeah.
I love me to talk about the new fabrics I brought this
year.
Oh my gosh, they're awesome. So I totally did not mean to do this. I was in the neighborhood and stopped by Bernina & Stitches in Johnson City.
Oh, yeah.
And oh my gosh. Look at this.
Oh, yeah, you texted me these.
It is these fall, it's this like colorful, crazy fall madness that I absolutely love. I love the colors. I love this teal background. I love the flowers. There's flowers on a pumpkin. How can you not love that? And I got this plaid to go with the lining. I thought that was pretty to go with it.
Very pretty.
And the other one I got is Christmas.
I have seen this in that shop, and I love it. It's so cute.
Look at the little snowman.
Well, what's awesome about it is it's actually...
deer.
Oh, I guess it is Christmas because there are Christmas trees. But I was going to say the snowman and the deer almost just make it wintry.
Yeah, it's wintry. It's not the Christmas... there's trees, but they're not too Christmassy. So, I mean, yeah, you could do this all winter long. But they're just so cute. Pink and teal
love those colors.
And green. And then I got this fun polka dot to go on the lining. So...
really cute.
Those are bags I'm going to have.
That's awesome.
And what brought me to this shop was I had, and I left it upstairs, I had some yarn that Tara gave me for my birthday.
Oh, yeah.
I think I showed it. It looks like this. Well, I started I'm sorry, my nose is like super itchy today. I started a shawl with it. And this shawl called for beads. And so I wanted to go and find beads. And so I started at the cross-stitch shop that's like right upstairs from Bernina & Stitches. And they didn't have what I wanted. I ended up going somewhere else. And here is the beads that I got. And they're kind of more silvery than I'd hoped to find. I wanted like a little champagne color, and she didn't have them. But I think this will be fine for this. Because it's...
the yarn is going to go through it and maybe change the color.
Maybe change the color. But yeah, it'll be just fine with that. I think it'll be pretty.
Do you know, I think I have beads that are this size and are clear, but without that, like these are lined in silver, that are clear and just sparkly, so they show the yarn underneath it. I should bring them. Yeah, so let me bring them and see if they go better. Well, because I'm never going to use them again. I used them in a pattern, but it's like once I use them, I don't need them anymore. Oh no, you got sucked in at the cross-stitch store.
So yeah, I have so much time that I can do this, but I got sucked in at the cross-stitch store. I have completed 2 little, I like the little ones. I used to cross-stitch big ones, and I'm bad not to finish the big ones. I still have an amazing snowman scene from when my husband and I were dating, and I got sequestered in a jury. And so I started this thing. I was sequestered for like a week. It was awful.
That's like 14 years ago, right?
Yeah, it was. So yeah, I still have the snowman going. It's beautiful. And I think I have a picture of Jesus too that is just beautiful. And he's carrying a lamb, and there's a line at his feet. And
that's intense.
Yeah, it was on linen, and it was tiny. And I think I've made a mistake and never went back. So I like the little tiny ones. I have one that says October, and I have a little fall house with fall leaves. I took them upstairs too. I think they're actually out in the car. So I got this one. It has a little snow house and tiny little snowman, and it's very cute. And then this one cracked me up. I was looking, and the lady was showing it to me, and she said, I've got one that says, it says March blows. I had to have it just because of that.
That's
March
hilarious.
blows. But it had like, it was a monthly thing, and every month said something.
Were they all grumpy?
No, they were not all grumpy. It was like, I don't remember what each one said, but March blows. I'm sorry, I don't care who you are, that's funny. And so, yeah, because since I'm not doing one of those, like some people do a big one with all the different, since I'm not doing that, I felt like I could easily switch up the months. I didn't have to stay within the same brand.
Or like,
pattern.
Yeah.
So I changed it, and it's got a little chicken on it. I love the little chicken.
It looks like it's like a weather vane.
It's a weather vane. And so March blows, and it's all windy. But March blows. I'm sorry, this is funny. And so, and I got these little white beads that instead of the little white X's on the snow scene, I'm going to put the beads. So you may see this sometime next year because it'll probably take me that long to get around to doing it.
But you know that your March blows totally reminds me of the first cross stitch I ever had any contact with was as a little kid. My grandma used to do cross stitch, but she would do these little ovals and put magnets on them, and they would go in the refrigerator. Like they were in the little frame, and you can buy the whole kit together with the frame and the magnet. And she had one that said decaf won't do it, and it was like a guy like laying on his back with just his mug in the air. So you just saw his feet and then like his mug in the air, and it said decaf won't do it. And as a kid, I had no idea what that meant. And when I asked my grandma, she said, it means that decaf coffee is no good. So I thought for like 10 years that decaf coffee was like a type of coffee. Like I didn't know caffeine, not caffeine.
Yeah, yeah.
Anyhow,
That's
so that like is burned in my memory of being one of those weird, but it was cross stitch. And I was like, why would you ever cross stitch that? And she's like, because it's important. Okay.
It's important, yeah.
I come from a family of serious coffee drinkers.
Oh, yeah.
That fabric is awesome.
So
You gotta hold it closer, I think.
Devon, I'm not sure how to say your name. Please forgive me. Devon.
Something.
And
We
she's
love
in
you.
Florida. Devon FL, I think she is on Instagram. I love her. She's awesome. She wanted me to make her a bag, and she sent me this awesome fabric. And this is the lining, and I fell in love with it. And there was some left over, and there's not enough for like a whole full size, wedge bag the size that I typically make.
Mm-hmm.
But there's enough for like a little sock bag or something. And so this is kind of what's the piece that's left. And so I'm like, can I like bribe you or pay you for the rest of this fabric? And she's like, well, I want you to make me another bag. Can you discount it? And I was like, sure. So she may get the next one for free depending on what fabric she sends me. I may want to keep it too. So
Nice.
So yeah.
So you're making a bag for her out of this.
She sent. I charged her. I didn't charge her as much as I would, of course, if I had provided the fabric.
Right.
So I discounted the amount and just charged her for making the bag and shipping, and hopefully she'll love it. I sent it off on Friday. She should have it today or tomorrow.
Oh, so you don't have the finished
I
one
don't
to show
have
us.
the finished one to show you.
You texted me. It was a really good one.
It's
It beautiful.
turned out really, really cute.
You're going to be happy with
and
it, Devon.
So, yeah, I hope she loves it.
Also, if you guys leave comments or ask us questions, tell us how to pronounce your name. And tell us your real name, not your Ravelry name, so that we can say...
Well, her real name actually is
Devon. Yeah.
Yes.
Well, I figured. Well, on Instagram you can often see, but like people have asked us questions on Ravelry. We got a question this week about spindle spinning.
Yes.
As I said, we're talking about spinning. We don't know how to do that, but we can... hopefully someone, if you know about spindle spinning, go to our Ravelry group, the Handmade Podcast, and go to the Ask Us Anything thread and leave your suggestions. I'm a total failure at it. The very first, before I got the wheel, I got a spindle at like a fiber show one day. I only made one really like thick and thin and overspun bright green. I dyed with Kool-Aid. This is like right at the beginning of my dyeing, and it was horrible wool because I sold it with a spindle, and it was really hideous, and it wasn't fun.
It didn't appeal to me. I'm like, a lot of people enjoy the process of spinning, and yeah, it's enjoyable, but I don't want to take that much time with it. I want results. So it just seemed like, why would you do that when you can do it faster with a wheel?
Which is the question people ask about socks, and I think that all of that comes back to it's just something you really like.
Yeah,
like,
and
spinning
some
must be
people, must
love
people. That. They like the portability of it. I don't mind to knit in public. I'll take my knitting anywhere. But I don't know. It just seems like you would draw so much more attention to yourself spinning in public,
well,
and that just doesn't appeal to me. Yeah,
like to do it, you have to
have it. And you're up here, and so that doesn't appeal to me. And I never was interested in that. But a lot of people really enjoy it. They really enjoy collecting the different beautiful spindles, and you can get a lot of pretty ones. Natural wood ones. There's plastic ones. There's resin ones. There's all kinds of different beautiful spindles. And so that's part of the fun is collecting those.
For sure.
But
whereas collecting spinning wheels is a little more expensive.
Yeah, it's a little more expensive. I'd like to have one of those. What's the one that the plucky knitter has? Those. I don't know, but it's beautiful. And Carrie just got one. Maja Craft. I can't wait to see Carrie's Maja Craft. That's like the the Mercedes of spinning wheels, so it's going to be fun to check hers out. I hope she brings it. I'm sure she will. But I recommend to the lady online who asked us, I recommended Respect the Spindle. I've heard a lot of people talk about that book. I think that's one of the pretty much the staples of any spindle spinner's library to get started is Respect the Spindle. I think that really helps a lot. And I bet you that lady, I want to say it's Maggie Casey, but I cannot swear to that, that's who wrote that. But I'm sure that I believe the person who authored that book probably has videos as well.
Yeah.
That's probably something you have to purchase.
And if you are a spindle spinner, there is a dearth of good spindle spinning videos on YouTube. So shoot some for your fellow man and title them things like how to spindle spin so that they're easily searchable, because that's information that's kind of, it's not as easy to find as wheel spinning. So that's our public service announcement.
That's our public service announcement. I still have,
we haven't talked about our knitting projects.
Knitting? You want to do knitting? Okay,
sure.
Let's do knitting.
I still have more.
It's my sweater.
Yay! Remember last week we talked about my blue sand cardigan? Well, we are doing a little knit along. Join us on the Ravelry group for knit along. You've already gotten further than I am. This is so depressing. Oh my goodness. Okay, well, I'll pull it.
I have loved it. I could not wait to see. I dyed the yarn myself. I'm gonna hook
you have to show them the yarn.
The yarn is amazing.
Push your wheel away. I'm worried it's gonna snag you.
The yarn, I thought, I'll come up with something that I like, you know. But I didn't, I did not hold up high hopes for falling in love with what I was dyeing. I just gave myself that leeway.
It's so
I
beautiful.
absolutely love it. I just love it. And somebody told me, oh, that's a frozen color. So yes, I'm doing a frozen sweater.
But look at when it's knit up, the hand dyedness of it is just gorgeous. But it's not busy at all. You know, like a lot of hand dyed yarns are so busy.
It's subtle. You can see the variegatedness of the, you know.
I love it. It's beautiful.
And so yes, I've already changed one of the I think it's probably linked in on my project page, but I favorited several of the projects, and one of them had this stripe, and I loved the idea of that. So
are those your 3 colors?
Those are my 3 colors.
Okay, so you're not gonna do the second stripe, like the last 2 stripes.
Yeah, they'll be like this, and then the other 2 stripes are in the darker color.
Okay.
And then you just add this, and I think you add even the light color down below. I don't know. I'll have to refer back to the picture.
Okay.
But it looks.
And link really that one in the show notes so they see what you're talking about.
Yeah, I'll have to do that.
Or at least link your project. So.
And so I also, these are my birthday presents.
Your signature needles.
My signature needles. Look at those points. Okay, so I really love the points for like doing the increases. You have a make one left and a make one right. They get in there without any trouble whatsoever.
So we should compare. So these are, oh, you know, you told me to remember the needles and I can never remember the needles. Do I have the, no. So these are some needles that I bought probably at a big box store. And I love these needles, but they're not pointy.
So yeah, you can see how much farther the taper ends, like, you know, maybe what, a good 1/4 inch before. And the tips are a bit pointier.
Yeah, definitely.
So, the only thing that
we're gonna be tangled.
The only thing that I don't absolutely love about these needles is the drag. It feels slick, but like my yarn squeaks across it, like when I'm like shoving.
Oh, it does.
It does.
Oh.
See if you can hear this. I'm going to hold it up. Try not to step on my yarn. It's got caught in my shoe. Sorry. You see that? So it squeaks. And so it has a bit of a drag. I'm used to metal needles and being very slick. I like metal needles. And so it does have that little bit of a drag, but I love the tips. And so I'm not sad that I bought these. Another really neat feature of these is they won't come unscrewed.
Yeah.
While you're knitting. If you guys own knit picks, I know that is an issue. Yeah. I've had that issue, but the cable join right here, it's good and smooth. I haven't had any issues, but you can turn the needle and hold the cable still. So there's a way that they connect that makes it like that. And the connection from the stalk to the cable is very, you know,
Mm-hmm.
You can't
I always
feel.
wondered if like this has an edge, but it doesn't. Not
No.
really.
No.
I mean, I can feel it with my fingernail, but I don't think a yarn would feel unless it was extra lace weight.
Yeah.
So that's amazing.
So I like them. I want to try all the needles. This is not, stopped me from saying, oh, this is it, the end all and be all. No, I'm still very curious about all the other brands, and I think the next ones I want to buy are carbons. Now, I have heard from a very reliable source that people have had issues with the carbons are colored like these. They have a colored stalk and then the silver tips. And they've had issues with the tips coming off. Jeez. To the point where someone who carries them has had so many returns they've stopped carrying them. So that makes me a little nervous, but I've heard on the other hand so many knitters love them that it's still,
right.
Hopefully it's Knitter's Pride. It's a known company that makes several different kinds of needles. So hopefully it'll be a company that I'm sure they stand behind their product, but they'll also strive to make it better. So I'm willing to give them a shot.
Awesome.
I don't think I want to jump out and buy a set, but I do want to at least try them out.
Yeah. So you have made more progress than me, and it just occurred to me that part of it is because, well, first of all, my sweater's covered in cat hair, so that could be what's easy.
No, I think it's the fiber or
Last
something.
night, my cat came up and laid across it, and I was like, I'm taking this to the podcast. Get off of it. So mine's in fingering weight, and yours is in...
Yeah. Mine is in DK, but like when I ordered the undyed yarn, it said it was DK. It's 231 yards, and so it looks worsted. I mean,
it really looks worsted.
It's a 3-ply. It's awesome. It's super squishy.
So
and
is that
soft.
230 and 100 grams?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So that's almost right.
It's
at
almost
what worsted is.
Yeah. It's almost a worsted, but it was listed as DK when I ordered it. But I'm getting gauge. Like I didn't block it, but when I first tested it,
Yeah, I'm just messing with you.
I know, I didn't want to do a gauge swatch. I was so excited to get it started. I so did not want to do a gauge swatch, and I did not.
Okay, so I'm curious to see if our first sections are the same length, because I thought I went a little long on mine. I did not measure or count rows because my rows are different than the pattern rows. So my first section's a little bit longer than yours. But
I counted rows.
Yeah. Well, so
and I did not take into account these two. I forget, 40 rows or something, and then I think the next section's like 30. But I didn't subtract or anything. I just kind of added those in there. And as far as I don't think it's gonna mess. The row count is just for the color change management. Right. It's not like for the pattern or anything. So I just added my little stripe in there and just kept
That'll
the
be
pattern.
fine. And just move all the stripes down a little bit. But for me, I'm going to start counting the stripes like I'm supposed to now. But I didn't at the top because I knew the size that I wanted that pink section to be, and that's where I wanted it. So, however, I'd be like 12 rows further, in fact, if I had not switched to the wrong color. Yesterday morning, with my coffee, I switched to the lighter gray.
Long rows too.
To the lighter gray when I should have switched to the darker gray, and I discovered it last night at like 9 o'clock after having spent all day knitting.
That's heartbreaking.
Yeah, we caught up on Sons of Anarchy, and we watched. We cleaned some things, but mostly, and Jay made both lunch and dinner, so I had lots of knitting time. Yeah, seriously. She's super excited, though. She's like, what? You had to rip out your yarn?
I know.
It was crushing. And because these rows were huge, I was to the point to split it.
Oh.
When I go, wait, I'm supposed to switch colors again? No. And
so you might be like close to the same point as me, because I'm not.
No, I was too. And
oh my gosh.
Oh yeah, I think we're about the same length. Mine has just got more of the top color. But I did learn that I'm going to have to add, so what I did is when I took it off the needles, I went ahead and put it on me, and I realized that it was at the point where the pattern said I should split, but it didn't meet up nicely under my underarms. So I'm going to add maybe 4 or 6 rows to the length before I split next time. So it was a learning experience. You're about to sneeze again. It was a learning experience, and I'm kind of bummed, but I'm super happy with it.
It's beautiful.
I love it so much. And we're using the same stitch markers, though, I think. So these are from her Doctor Who kits.
My Doctor Who. I got another. I sold another kit.
Yay.
And I don't think it was the one I sold to. It was one of the previous ones. But I got another rave review. Thank you so much for leaving me an awesome review.
And you're using the teapot, too. I'm using
the teapot.
There are a zillion stitch markers in that kit.
They are. There's like 18 or 15 or 16 or something like that. 13. But yeah, and the little... So I love them. It makes you happy as you go by to see the cutesy little stitch markers.
But that's what I'm working on this week, and that's what you're working on as well. But you've got other projects too.
I have one more that I have been working on as well, and I have quite a bit done on this, but there's still quite a bit to go. This is my Miss Winkle, and as you can see, it's quite long. It starts here and slowly grows, and I'm enjoying it. As you can see, I'm still striping it with garter stitch and stockinette. And I haven't counted my little loopies, but there's quite a few of them. And so if I stretch it out, you can see it's kind of long.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm enjoying working on this. It's one of those conversation knitting because there's not too much going on. I've memorized pattern pretty easily. I don't have to, you know, really concentrate on it too much. So I'm enjoying it. It is still absolutely killing me that I don't have socks on the needles. I have sock envy. I want more socks. I have 2 hand knit pairs of socks. One, I could kick myself because the yarn is so amazing. It was lollipop yarn. It feels so nice. But for whatever crazy reason, I knit them too big. And so they're a little loose. And I can wear them with my Birkenstocks.
Have you put them in the dryer?
I have not, but they're superwash. Will it still help?
I don't think so. But you could try it. Dampen them, put them in the dryer, but check every 10 seconds. Like, be obsessive. I don't think it should do anything, actually, since they're superwash, but it might...
You never know. It could.
Tighten them up a little.
So, yeah, it would be great if I could tighten them up a little. I'll put them in a laundry bag and...
Yeah, I mean, keep your eye on them, though. I'd hate for them... Of course, you have young children in the house. You could always pass
and
them
they're
on.
like Halloween colors, so my boys could totally wear them. And my son's foot is, like, huge now. Matt said that he had to buy him, like, size 8.5 shoes for wrestling. So, yeah, it's like... Yeah. And we measured this morning. He's like this far away from being able to look me in the eye to eye. I mean, he's like up to my nose.
You're kind of short, though.
Well, yeah.
I did not realize how much shorter than she was than me until we started doing the podcast, and I saw my head kept going out of the frame in the last episode. So I think that's everything.
I still have stuff to pull.
You still have stuff?
I don't have knitting, but I have other stuff to talk about. I have some books to talk about. This one I borrowed from the library. This is Spinning and Dyeing Yarn. The Home Spinner's Guide to Creating Traditional and Art Yarns. It's by Ashley Martineau. She was also another one whose videos I found. She does art yarns, and she has some lovely tutorial videos out there. This book is beautiful, beautiful. I won't go into like a whole big review, but it goes... It talks about the different types of wool and yarn and fiber, and here's a tutorial on building a drying rack, repairing your fiber, equipment.
It kind of covers everything.
It kind of covers everything, and I'm sure it doesn't go too awful in depth on everything, but it hits the highlights to get you started beautifully. If you wanted to go and buy, you know, fleece. I mean, you can start at fleece and go through there. It talks about dyeing the fiber and
gradient dyeing,
hand painting, solar dyeing, tie dyeing, and then it shows you some dyed fibers, and then it starts talking. It looks like it talks to Lexi Boger, some different spinners. Then it talks about techniques. It's got drop spindles in here. Choosing a drop spindle, building a drop spindle.
So it's got everything.
Yeah, it's core spinning, thread wrapping.
So this is a good book if you don't...
Choosing a wheel.
If you want to start spinning or dyeing and you don't know where to start, this book will give you everything you need to know.
Hey, build your own wheel. It has plans in there. It tells you how to build a PVC wheel. And, if you're on a budget, why not?
Okay, so what are the other books you got?
So, yeah, this is awesome. It's beautiful. Check it out. This one I got for my birthday. This is called The Knitter's Life List, and it is huge and amazing. I have not had a chance to really get in depth with it, but it's really cool. I mean, it talks about, like, everything.
So it kind of gives you a list of the things you might want to do in your knitting life.
It's like a knitting bucket list, yeah.
Exactly. So it talks to people, events, patterns, like historical stuff, traditional, cultural stuff, just useful techniques, patterns.
Wools.
Yeah, all kinds of information, like, for you to explore further. Kind of to give you a starting place to learn more.
It's really cool. You could talk about it for a week. I mean,
yeah,
it's got
my mom has
a lot in it.
It's awesome.
And finally, we have a book review. Can we do this?
I haven't read the book, so go right ahead.
I didn't want to put it off any longer because we've kind of been busy, and it'll be another 2 weeks, and we have a couple other books to review, so I figured we could go ahead. This is Graphic Knits by Alexis Winslow.
Okay, and disclaimer, the publisher sent us this book for free.
Yes.
Interweave sent it to us, which we greatly appreciate,
yes.
But they didn't, we didn't promise to be nice, but it's a great book.
It is a great book, and they have several patterns in here that I really like and I would totally make. There's several in here that are just simply not my style. They're still very cute patterns. I don't wear shrugs. That's just not my body type, but they're very cute. They've got like a chevron one that I love. This is adorable. Again, not for my body type. I have a little muffin top that would not agree with this. Yeah, so, but I love it. I think that is just so cute. So, I have a niece who would just look adorable in that. And there's some really cute, young-looking patterns in here, too.
I like that cardigan.
Love this.
The rocking cardigan.
This is just so cute. I definitely want a cardigan like that with the
little color work and stripes.
Yeah, the color work. I love the stripes about it. I love the pockets, the buttons. I want to do buttons. I need some buttons. And let's see. Here's another one. This one's really cute. Little geometric type design. Get you started in some little bit of color work there.
Yeah, so it has
There's
a good
a hat
collection.
in here.
It's all about color.
Oh, here's the shrug. Look how cute that is. Is that not adorable? And she's even got a cute little button on that. I think it's adorable. I wish I could wear stuff like that, but unfortunately I cannot.
I don't do shrugs
Has
either.
a lovely like wrap.
That's in cables.
All cables. Gentle cables. It looks very snuggly. I like that. This I love. This.
That one is my favorite too.
This is my favorite. It reminds me of another sweater that I had wanted to make once upon a time, but doesn't take up as much yarn as this other one, because the other one was just...
Well, say the name of what the pattern is. You didn't.
Oh, yeah, sorry, I showed you, but I didn't say it. This is the Angle, E-N-G-L-E cardigan. Here's what the back looks like. And I'll show you the front again. Here's a picture of the front. I really love this. I think I might have to make this one day. I'm not crazy about the yarn selection. I think that it would show off the pattern a little better if the yarn was more plain. This is really
like a gradient yarn.
A gradient or a variegated. I don't know exactly how to describe this yarn.
It's gradient and it's plied to different colors.
Yeah.
So
it's a busy yarn, and I think the pattern it looks pretty. Don't get me wrong. But I really love this pattern, and I think the pattern would pop more if the yarn was a little more plain. Here they've got a shawl pin kind of holding it together, and you can kind of see it there. I think, but yeah, I really like that. I think it's really pretty. Look at this colorwork hat. This is really cute, and mittens to match, and there's another set of little colorwork mittens in here that's adorable. It's got some good... tutorials in here. It's got, it explains things well. There's charts and there's written instructions.
Yeah, so
it's cute, cute, cute. I love this too, the little turtleneck.
So we like the book. It's super cute. Let's give them the title of it again.
This is Graphic Knits
by Alexis Winslow. You can find it, of course, on Amazon or on Ravelry, and we'll link to it on our show notes. And I think that's good, unless you had another pattern you want to show that's your favorite.
I wanted to talk. Here's the other mittens. I really like these.
Yeah, those are cute.
Those are cute. And it has some really good tutorials. I love this too. One more. Love, love, love polka dots. And so it has some really good tutorials in the back if you're not sure what they're talking about, or, and it has several other good patterns. There's a bunch of great patterns in here. So yeah, check it out.
Yeah, graphic
Thanks
knits.
for letting us review it. It was a really great book, and there's several patterns in here I would totally make.
And if you're knitting one of them, tell us in our
Yes.
Ravelry group. We want to see what you're making out of there. So we had technical difficulties. We were saying we like that book. Check it out. Find us at handmadepodcast.com. Join our Ravelry group. We would love to talk to you, especially if you're knitting the Blue Sand cardigan or you have questions about anything spinning, knitting, dyeing, cross stitch. And you can find more at handmadepodcast.com. You can find links to everything we talked about. Also, you can find the great yarn and bags that she shows off at mistydot.etsy.com, and more about me and my book and how I help crafters at taraswiger.com. Thank you so much for joining us, and have a great day.
Bye.
Bye.